Welcome to Kansas Ag Report with your host, Brian Hallman.
Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Brian Hallman, and here's our lineup for today's show. In Ag News, we'll take a look at local and national headlines affecting Kansas farmers. In our Ag Feature, we sit down with Glenn Tonser, K-State ag economist, to talk about the financial health of the U.S. beef industry. Inside Kansas Ag has Kansas Wheat discussing the 2015 National Festival of Breads, and KDA informs us on the new From the Land of Kansas trademark program. And in news you need to know, we have our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association. We'll look back at last week's market activity with the guys from Paragon, and we'll let you know about important events coming up around the state of Kansas. Glad you could join us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Here's our national headlines for this week in Ag News. Ag Deputy Secretary Krista Harden announced that the USDA will make farm loan improvements by increasing the borrowing limit for the microloan program from $35,000 to $50,000. USDA also plans to simplify the lending processes and update required farming experience to include other valuable work experiences. The new changes will become effective November 7th. For details, go to fsa.usda.gov. The question of whether Congress will consider a tax extender package when it returns for the lame duck session in November is still unknown. The National Cattlemen's Beef Association says passage of the tax extenders is important to cattlemen, in particular Section 179, the expensing of equipment purchases, and bonus depreciation. The IRS has warned Congress that the decision to renew the tax provisions must be made by late November to avoid disruptions during next year's tax filing season. The USDA has raised its projections for this year's corn and soybean crops slightly. Corn is now projected at 14.4 billion bushels, up just under 1% from September, with an average yield of 174.2 bushels per acre. Soybeans are looking to be at 3.9 billion bushels, slightly more than last month, with an average yield of 47.1 bushels per acre. If projections ring true, this would be a new all-time high for soybeans, toppling state records in Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, Ohio, and South Dakota. And in local news, farmers in Kansas and 3 other neighboring states filed coordinated lawsuits in federal court against Swiss seed company Syngenta over sales to the U.S. of genetically modified corn seed that China has yet to approve. It is estimated that U.S. farmers lost over $1 billion when the Chinese rejected dried distillers' grains from the Syngenta GM corn. Farm Service Agency is now taking appointments for the Water Hauling Assistance Program in Russell County due to the Level 3 drought status on May 1st. To be eligible, the grazing land must be located in Russell County and had an adequate supply of water before the drought occurred. All applications for payments must be submitted no later than November 1st. Call the Russell County FSA office at 785-483-5618 to schedule an appointment. In order to provide efficient service, the Kansas Department of Agriculture has modified the documentation requirements for producers and agribusinesses governed by the Kansas pesticide law. The new policy will allow documentation in the form of paper, electronic submission, or a combination of the two. For more information on the policy change, go to agriculture.ks.gov. Up next in our Ag Feature, we sit down with Glenn Tonser, an ag economist from K-State, to talk about the financial health of the U.S. beef industry. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. Please stay tuned.
This segment brought to you by Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. GrassandGrain.com.
A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in Southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for weeds. Online at kswheat.com.
I'm Dr. Frank Lyons, a physician here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. As one of the only standalone stem cell centers in the U.S., we use your stem cells as therapy for arthritis and some autoimmune diseases.
I'm Dr. Andrew Poe, here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Utilizing the latest technology under strict protocols, we're able to harvest your stem cells from your own fat to treat a variety of medical conditions. The best part about it is, it's a same-day surgical procedure and requires no general anesthesia.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
At Ag Risk Solutions, we have been helping our clients make better crop insurance decisions since 1981. We always focus on helping you find the best coverage options for your farm, and it will give you peace of mind knowing you have a partner you can trust. To learn more about our agency, please visit our website, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter. Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution.
Ag Risk Solutions is an equal opportunity provider.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Dick Edwards is taking North Central Kansas by storm. We've been bending over backwards to exceed your car buying experience for over 30 years. Choose from one of our 9 different new car brands or from our second to none used selection. Currently, with over 700 vehicles to choose from, we definitely have the one for you. Whether you're coming from the north, south, east, or west, our sales and service departments will work tirelessly to do what's right for you. Dick Edwards in Manhattan and Junction City. Bending over backwards for you.
Good morning and thanks for staying with us. We're at the 2014 K-State Stocker Days and we're joined by Dr. Glenn Tonser. Dr. Tonser, thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
Second quarter was a great quarter for beef, not only for consumer demand, beef prices, but replacement prices were also at record highs. Is this going to flatten out?
Yeah, good summary is yes, we set records across the board. Margins throughout the industry are better than we've seen in a long time and sometimes ever, when we talk about cow-calf in particular. Some of the information I shared was projections for the rest of the year as well as 2015 and 2016. The summary would be from a cow-calf probability perspective, it does look like 2015 and probably 2016 will continue to be very good, certainly better than we've had in the past. They may or may not be as strong as 2014, but they will probably be, historically speaking, very good years. I think planting the seed for expansion. Part of what I talked about is I think we are going to expand the beef herd. I belabored that in our talk. We're sitting here at the Stocker Field Day. We talked about margins for that industry. Sticker shock of having to pay more they've ever had to pay for, 4 or 5 weight animal is part of what we talked about, but those margins are also quite positive. It takes more cash to operate if you're a stocker than it used to, so that's a lot of what we talked about, but I think this fall run as well as next year sets up well for that segment. And then finally, I talked about the feedlot industry, and the first 9 months of 2014 has been some of the better periods we've had, best since we've had back in 2003 actually, from profitability perspective. I shared some reasons I'm concerned about the fourth quarter and early next year, mainly because these record feeder cattle prices I talked about on the cow-calf side of things are coming up to, obviously increase the cost of production at the feedlot level, and we haven't had enough of a fed cattle price increase to offset that for the fourth quarter. So round out that, I'll give you a summary, is very profitable segment for 2014. Going into 2015, most of that's going to continue.
Well, and another point you brought up is that as beef prices continue to grow, consumers are going to demand more information from producers. That's also going to play into the cycle, I would imagine, don't you think?
Yeah, so part of what I said was the good story is beef demand has been very strong. So yes, we are producing less, but people are paying more for those reduced pounds than yours truly expected. That's a very positive story. But what I was trying to convey is you ask somebody to spend more on a product, they're probably going to ask more questions. And the analogy I've used in the past, I didn't use in our talk today, was, next time I go to buy a new pickup, I'm probably going to pay more than I did last time. I still have demand for a new pickup, but I might ask GM, Ford, Dodge, whoever it is, more questions, right? I'm going to want to know more about it if I want to pay $5,000 or $10,000 more than I did last time. I think buying food is the same way, and I'm encouraging the cattle producers to recognize the U.S. public who's paying more for that product may be willing to, but they're probably going to ask more questions before they're willing to continue paying record prices for the meat.
And it doesn't matter across the board for any protein, I would imagine, probably hold the same true.
Yeah, and I think it's just the whole food complex, right? As food in general, right, has become more expensive in different pockets, we're going to have more questions asked. I don't think there's any reason to be defensive about that or be upset about it. I'm really just trying to make people aware that along those lines is the information is going to have to flow through the industry in order to properly answer those questions. And when we're sitting here at Stocker Field Day, it's a middle segment in the cattle industry. They're going to have to work with the cow-calf segment, the feedlot segment, and retailers in order to tell that story appropriately.
Perfect. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to finish up with Dr. Tomser at the 2014 K-State Stocker Days. You're watching Kansas Ag Report, and we'll see you in just a minute.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life. Farmers Insurance, your best protection against the unexpected. Call Agent Dan Key at 785-408-5459. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Blue River Traders, the finest selection of Western-style furniture for your home. BlueRiverTraders.com.
We're at the 2014 K-State Stocker Days. We're joined by Dr. Glenn Tomser. Thanks for staying with us, Dr. Tomser. 10-year outlook for beef. Herd expansion is something that everybody wants to talk about. We know we need to expand our herd. We've got more demand not only in the U.S., but globally we're going to have more demand on beef products, and we produce that here in the U.S. Let's talk about herd expansion over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, so some of the numbers I shared were competing forecasts of how much we're going to expand. Most forecasts are we will expand. So for context, we have about 29 million cows, beef cows in the current inventory. That's down, been down for several years now. One of the forecasts I shared was 10 years from now, ERS saying we might have 33.7 million. So 4.5 million more cows. That would be about 16% growth from our 2014 numbers. A competing forecast I shared was from FAPRI, which is a group at University of Missouri and Iowa State, who's actually forecasting less net expansion, peaking out, as you said, about 5 years from now in 2018 at never really hitting 31 million cows. So we're not even going to add 2 million in their forecast. What I tried to share with the audience is those are forecasts. Time will tell what actually occurs, but I am a believer that the first one I shared will be more likely to be accurate. We're going to add more than 2 million cows, maybe 4 or 5 million more than we have today. And the main reason I believe that, consistent with that ERS projection, is I do think we are entering an era of global demand growth for meat protein. And in order to meet that, the U.S. and other major producers around the world are going to add cows and we're going to produce more meat. I think here in the U.S. we have a comparative advantage on the grain finish side of beef things, and that will be a pull. We'll be hitting some of those higher income demand pulls, and we'll continue to export more and more of our product. And in order to do that, we're going to add more than the 2 million cows, I believe.
Well, when we talk about inputs, corn's at the lowest level it's been in many, many years. This is a perfect opportunity for someone to start expanding that herd, I would imagine.
Yeah, so 2014 is setting up as probably the best year on record for whatever we're going to call our typical cow-calf producer. So if you operate in an area where you're not hit by the drought and so forth, so for the typical person, you have very high output prices and reduced production costs, as you just said. So the margins are better than they've ever been, and for somebody that has a long-run interest in expanding, the timing is good. Now that doesn't fit everybody, right? Not everybody has a 30-year horizon or it has another generation coming
or has
back.
the pastures to do it.
Right, or just a mere interest in doing it because it costs more than it used to do it. There's sticker shock on replacement. So I'm not saying this fits for everybody, but in aggregate for the cow-calf industry, I do think those margins are such that we are setting up to expand the herd. I think we are in the process of expanding the herd, and I think the next several cattle inventory reports from USDA will confirm that over the next couple of years.
And we should expect the July inventory report coming out here fairly soon, I would imagine.
The January one and subsequently the July one, both, they're important for this story because they tell us heifer retention numbers. So it's USDA's estimate of whether or not those heifers are actually being retained. And of course, I could fast forward from that, 2 years later is when we actually get some beef from that. So we have a couple year story of very tight cattle and meat supplies. The question is, will it become 3 or 4? That's why we're wanting to know if we've pulled the trigger on expansion yet or not.
Perfect. Dr. Tonsor, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
We're at the 2014 K-State Stocker Days. We were joined by Dr. Tonsor, and again, Dr. Tonsor, thanks for joining us. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. We'll see you in a minute.
Entries for the 2015 National Festival of Breads, sponsored by King Arthur Flour, Red Star Yeast, and the Kansas Sweet Commission, are being accepted through January 16, 2015. Adult amateur bakers ages 18 and up can submit original recipes for ethnic breads, rolls, time-saving breads, and whole grain breads online at nationalfestivalofbreads.com. a newly redesigned website dedicated to the contest. Youth bakers ages 12 through 17 can submit recipes for yeast breads and quick breads using the same form. Judges will evaluate all entries and select 8 adult finalists, each of whom will participate in the national competition on June 13, 2015 in Manhattan, Kansas. They will participate in a wheat harvest tour to a working Kansas wheat farm, flour mill, and grain elevator. And the grand prize winner will receive $2,000 in cash and a trip to attend a baking class at the King Arthur Flour Education Center in Vermont. One youth grand prize winner will receive a $300 scholarship, and 2 youth will receive a $100 scholarship. Learn more about the contest by visiting nationalfestivalofbreads.com.
Agriculture is the largest industry in Kansas and has a profound effect on our daily lives, whether it's the farmer harvesting his crop, the ag equipment manufacturer introducing new precision tools, the food company creating a new product, the microbrew crafting your favorite brew, or the woodcarver constructing a handmade gift. The From the Land of Kansas Agriculture Trademark Program strives to support and promote all of these ag businesses and more. We are proud to be part of the ag marketing team at the Kansas Department of Agriculture. We want to bring agriculture to the forefront this holiday season, and we are hoping holiday shoppers can help us by giving the gift of Kansas agriculture. This could be a gift certificate to your local Kansas-owned restaurant, a basket of amazing, easy-to-make Kansas goodies, buying a tree from your local Christmas tree farm, or a bottle of Kansas wine for your friend that hosts the annual Christmas party for your card group. At FromTheLandOfKansas.com, we have a list of more than 200 great ag companies, and we also have a list of retailers who focus on Kansas products in their stores at FromTheLandOfKansas.com/shop. In addition, the From Land of Kansas program has unique gifts such as handcrafted Kansas-made coffee mugs and beautiful cutting boards in the shape of Kansas with our trademark logo. Both make memorable gifts for this holiday season or any occasion. For more information, check out our website and connect with us on social media.
You can find us on the web at kansasAGreport.com and make sure to like us on Facebook.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Impact Satellite, your local authorized DirecTV dealer. Impact Satellite at 785-554-5974.
Dick Edwards is taking North Central Kansas by storm. We've been bending over backwards to exceed your car buying experience for over 30 years. Choose from one of our 9 different new car brands or from our second to none used selection. Currently, with over 700 vehicles to choose from, we definitely have the one for you. Whether you're coming from the north, south, east, or west, our sales and service departments will work tirelessly to do what's right for you. Dick Edwards in Manhattan and Junction City, bending over backwards for you.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
This hog is Hanover hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Dick Edwards is taking North Central Kansas by storm. We've been bending over backwards to exceed your car buying experience for over 30 years. Choose from one of our 9 different new car brands or from our second to none used selection. Currently, with over 700 vehicles to choose from, we definitely have the one for you. Whether you're coming from the north, south, east, or west, our sales and service departments will work tirelessly to do what's right for you. Dick Edwards in Manhattan and Junction City, bending over backwards for you.
Since 1983, the Hydrobed has been utilized on cattle operations throughout North America. The Hydrobed equips your 3/4 or 1-ton truck for hay handling and feeding. Variable speed cable controls or the optional wireless remote enable you to haul, transport, and unroll 2 round bales weighing up to 3,000 pounds each. A mechanical free float automatically compensates for uneven ground and out of round bales, isolating you and the truck from impact of bale unrolling. To find out how the Hydrobed can improve your feeding efficiency, call or visit us on the web at triple-c-inc.com.
The third installment of the 2014 KLA Young Stockman's Academy was held October 6th through the 8th, with the group touring various segments of the beef and dairy industries in central and western Kansas. The first stop on the tour was at Bechtel Ranch near Eureka. Veterinarian and ranch owner Roger Bechtel discussed his cow-calf and stocker operation and conducted a beef quality assurance injection site demonstration for the class. Stops also were made at McCurry Angus Ranch near Burton and CB Farms of Preston. John McCurry said the bulls he sells commercial cow-calf customers are DNA tested, which can provide as much information on a young bull as if he had recorded more than 20 progeny records. Barry and Carla Bortz, owners of CB Farms, gave an inside look into their diversified cattle and farming operation. The Bortzes finish all their own calves and market each through U.S. Premium Beef. One of the primary goals is to increase the number of certified Angus beef and prime carcasses produced each year. During a tour of Royal Farms Dairy near Garden City, manager Kyle Averhoff told the YSA class the dairy milks about 6,500 cows twice daily and markets more than 13 million pounds of milk per month. Finney County Feeders manager Jeff George highlighted various aspects of the feed yard at Garden City. The group also toured the Cargill beef plant in Dodge City.
Hi, I'm Brian Holder with Paragon Ag. Money flow into and out of the markets is always a force to watch, as fund traders leave footprints and clues as to where the market is heading. The fundamentals of the grain markets have not changed that significantly over the past weeks, but other world factors have, and those factors are changing the psychology of the markets. The macro landscape is now taking the driver's seat in the markets, with the yield talk and the acres clearly in the back seat. Europe's economy is faltering. The Ebola threat is now in the United States. The ISIS army continues to be a threat and now is threatening to use the Ebola virus against the West. Sprinkled on top is the South American weather, which is abnormally hot and dry. We continue to see nothing but bearish fundamentals for the grains, and yet the world's current dilemma may warrant a pause. If the Ebola threat continues to get worse, fears for securing our food, slowing grain movements worldwide due to increased inspections, and money flow looking for a safe haven to protect future risk would have the markets focus off of the big production we just came off of. This may spark movements in the markets that are no longer related to the supply and demand tables. We have moved into a very complicated time frame, providing added opportunity and risk. To discuss how to navigate these markets, give Paragon a call at 888-452-8751.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Well, that's our show for today. I hope you'll join us each week for more news and information about agriculture in the state of Kansas. I'm Brian Holman, and thanks for watching.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.